In the book Alice in Wonderland, there comes a time when Alice meets the Cheshire Cat. And if you've ever, seen the cartoon, read the book, whatever, you see that she comes to a point where she's really frustrated. She's trying to get out of Wonderland. And so she asked the Cheshire Cat, she asked him how to get out of here. And he asked, well, that depends on where you want to go. She said, well, I don't know, anywhere but here. And he goes, well, it doesn't really matter. Go whatever direction you want. You'll leave here and you'll probably end up somewhere else. I mean, you have to end up somewhere else. This is the Warrior Podcast, episode 126. Let's talk about where are you going? But more importantly, what are you building? See, I think every day is like a brick. Every day of our life is like a brick, and we're building something. We're working towards something. We're moving towards something. Even if it feels like sometimes we're walking backwards, we're always moving forward towards something. Now, we know that as believers, we should be walking towards Christ likeness, towards salvation, the realization of salvation, glorification, if you will, to use some fancy biblical terminology. Not even biblical, but like theological terminology. And so if you look at your day, if you look at your life moment by moment as working towards something, walking towards salvation, walking towards the Lord, then we can now understand what path we're on. Jesus talks about the broad way and the narrow way. He said, many will go down the broad way that leads to destruction, the wide, right and left. There's a lot of birth there. But those that are leading to salvation, it's very narrow, and few will find it. Now, we talk about that broad and that narrow. What is that? What exactly is that? Oh, for 2,000 years, the church has kind of debated that a little bit. But I think it's pretty common understanding that the way of righteousness is very narrow. Matter of fact, it's only as big as Christ and his words. That we build our life, we've talked about before, on the foundation of his word, what he says, his points of reality. See, the world has a very broad way to it. Lies are infinite. Truth is very narrow, but lies are infinite. They're just variations of it. It's little nuances and twists on truth. And so we're to worship the Father in spirit and truth. We're to be people that are on the path of spirit and truth. We know that Jesus is the truth, and he gives us Holy Spirit to guide us in that truth. And those that base their life on his words and his commands, his edicts, are walking in truth. And we hang on every word. Remember, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Why? Because he leads the sheep. The sheep kind of will fall in line down a very narrow path, especially like on the side of a mountain where there's cliffs that they could easily fall down. And along the way, there's vegetation for them to eat, but very small. They got to keep up, stay right in line as they go, because if they stray, it's to their own destruction. So how do we apply that? It must be daily. See, the problem is that most of us are very spiritually lazy, right? We advocate to other sheep our roles as a sheep, when really we should be following the shepherd and doing what a sheep does. Drink the water he provides, eat the vegetation he provides, get the rest, and when it's time to move, it's time to move. But always following him, his promptings. Now, what does that look like? Well, listen, I'm always saying you got to get in the Word. You have to take time every single day to read his Word, seek his face and his understanding of it, not lean on our own understanding, because we naturally sheep, we're naturally lazy and selfish and very short-sighted. That's what sheep are. They're very short-sighted. Before you know it, they're walking off a cliff because they can't see too far out in front of them. So they can only see just a couple of inches in front of their face. So they got to stay really close to that shepherd, or really close to another sheep that's following that shepherd. And we can see the analogy goes there. You gotta make sure you follow the right sheep. But really, you should keep your eyes on the shepherd. And we know that his rod and his staff, they comfort us. No matter what we come about, we're like, I don't really understand this environment, this terrain, but ultimately the shepherd does. And so we'll stay after him. So again, what are you building? What are you walking towards? Where are you going? Following after Christ, following after who he is and what he's aligned us up to do in this life. That's the key. So, really, our sole purpose is to understand the workmanship that we've been created for, how we've been created to walk after him in a particular way, because my walk is going to be a little different than your walk. Not as it comes to follow my shepherd, but how the application of that is, because we all have been designed for a purpose, designed for glory, to glorify him in our way. So it's really our role to understand that. The only way we can do that is through the power of the Holy Spirit, giving us those insights, reading his word, and also joining in fellowship with other believers, what I call linking the shield. See, I have this blueprint that I've been working on. It's almost complete on how the Bible helps us to find and walk in our purpose. And step 8 of that blueprint is to link up with other believers. But step 3 is to really get grounded in his word and in his presence. All right, guys, as always, you're a warrior designed for glory, God's glory. So therefore, follow after him. As always, if you like the content, like, subscribe, tag people, and I'll continue to put it out. God be with you. Stay in the fight.